So a slightly different camera angle. I'm still not entirely sure how I want to shoot videos in this room now that I've changed the layout of everything in here. So for now, I'm going to try out this camera angle. Let me know if you like it or not. And with all that being said, yeah, Squarepusher, feed me weird things. Let's talk about this guy. What's going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music, and today I want to talk about Squarepusher's first album, Feed Me Weird Things, released on Reflex Records in 1996. Seeing as how this album is celebrating its 25th anniversary, as well as me being a huge fan of Squarepusher, I thought this would be the perfect album to kick off a new series of videos that I'm going to be doing, talking about all of Squarepusher's full-length projects. So throughout the course of this year, I will be going through every full-length album that Squarepusher has done in segmented videos, because doing one long video would just be incredibly tedious and I really don't want to edit it. So I'm going to break it up over time, give you my thoughts and opinions on each one of his full-length projects, with each video ending with a tier list so you know where it stands in terms of quality, in my opinion. And we'll see how this project goes. If you like what I'm doing with this video series, give this video a thumbs up so I know that you want to continue hearing my thoughts and opinions on these projects. The only thing that I want to say right out the gate is that I am only going to be covering full-length projects. No compilations, no EPs, and no mini LPs. So with that being said, yeah, let's talk about this guy. Originally released in 1996, Feed Me Weird Things would be the first full-length project from then up-and-comer Tom Jenkinson, aka Squarepusher, who had released a few projects prior to this through various other labels, but Feed Me Weird Things would be the first proper artist album that he put out. According to Wikipedia, Squarepusher gave Richard D. James the impossible task of whittling down a DAT with 50 tracks on it to a much more palatable album-length project, although it would probably be interesting to hear it in all of its unedited, unsequenced glory, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get that in the reissue. And the sounds that he explored on Feed Me Weird Things would basically be the signature components of all Squarepusher albums to follow. You get the fluid spastic bass lines, the jazzy keys and synths, a little bit of atmosphere, the rapid fire spastic, insane glitched out drum breaks, and just an overall blatant disregard for people's eardrums. And honestly, with Feed Me Weird Things, I feel like this is the album that I would use to introduce Squarepusher's music, because I think this is the most honest portrayal of Squarepusher's music. Hard Normal Daddy is a little bit easier to get into, and it feels like it's a little bit more of a polished version of what he's doing on this project. But to me, to really get a better idea of what Squarepusher's sound is like, Feed Me Weird Things is probably the more honest portrayal of everything that he would do following this album. And much like Hard Normal Daddy, it's a fairly easy album to get into. I don't think it's particularly abrasive in comparison to some of the stuff that he would release later on in his career. And it really does feature some of his most well-known and classic tracks. And indeed, some of my personal favorite songs from the entirety of Squarepusher's catalog are all contained on this album. Tracks like Tundra, Northern Jade, and Theme for Ernest Borgnine all have this chilling, haunting, and almost addictive atmosphere and melody to them that have made them some of Squarepusher's most widely praised tracks of his entire career, and are also some of my personal favorite songs. But I also enjoy tracks like the jazzy funhouse drill and bass sounds of Squarepusher theme and Smiley's theme are also some of my favorites, and I really enjoy atonal dubby moments on here with tracks like The Swifty and Windscale 2. All these tracks combine do a great job of showing off the versatility of not only Squarepusher's sound, but just him as a music producer. For as much as I do really enjoy this album, there are several tracks on here that really just weigh down the overall enjoyment I get from listening to this album front to back. A few of the more just percussion focused tracks that really don't have a whole lot of melody, like Dimotane Ko and Northern Circular are fine tracks, but really feel a little bit aimless and really just don't have the same sort of creative spark or melodic hook that makes some of the previously mentioned tracks personal favorites and widely recognized classics in Squarepusher's catalog. And it's not just the percussive tracks that sort of lack any sort of inspiration. Tracks like UFOs over Leytonstone, I think I said that right, have the right elements, like that chilling, haunting atmosphere that I mentioned with Tundra and Northern Jade, but ultimately don't feel like there's enough actual song progression going on in them to really make them interesting. They start off with a really cool idea, but Squarepusher really just doesn't take them anywhere interesting. And it's kind of the same thing for the last two tracks on here, which sort of make the album go out on a whimper instead of a bang. But even with all that being said, I would still, at the end of the day, recommend this album to everyone who's looking to get into Squarepusher's music. I think it's a perfect place to start. I think it has some of the best music that he's ever released. I think it's one of his best sounding projects, as I found a lot of his albums, as he went more and more digital, started sounding a lot thinner over time. And it's just a project that I can go back to over and over again. This was my first Squarepusher album, and I highly recommend it as your first Squarepusher album too, if you've never listened to it. So with all that being said, let's get to that tier list, and I think we are gonna squarely put this guy in the A category for sure. Yeah, there we go. So if you've never checked this one out, highly recommend that you do. It's the best place to get into Squarepusher's music, aside from the album that I'm going to talk about next time. But until then, so that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've listened to this album before, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you want to hear this album for yourself, please head over to my WordPress blog, because that's where I will be posting music links to any of the albums that I talk about on this channel. If you want to see me continue this Squarepusher album review series, let me know by giving this video a like and a comment. Let me know which one's your favorite, and hopefully I can see this project through to the end of where I want it to go. I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts and opinions on all of the different Squarepusher projects that are out there. And as always, make sure you're here on Sundays for Live from the Record Room. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, because that's the easiest way to find out when I will be going live. There you can hear me play records like the ones that I talk about on this channel, as well as a whole host of records that I don't get a chance to talk about in these videos. Links to everything, as always, down in the description. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!